have to start this out by saying Billy is definitely a talented musician. I'm not trying to take away from that. I used to love going to music festivals. I used to love jam band music. I still love bluegrass. But I think we gotta look at these things and be honest with ourselves. There's only so many times where something can be a coincidence before it's a trend. Eventually, when it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, you gotta call it a duck. When you have dozens of satanic posters, tattoos, album covers, images from music videos and lyrics, and you have lyrics admitting that you sold your soul, you eventually have to call it for what it is. I think with everything that's come to light about the people in power and the things that they're associated with, we have to be honest with ourselves in this time. And if we're being honest with ourselves, there is an overwhelming amount of evidence to support the fact that Billy Strings and the Grateful Dead were probably Freemasons and Satanists. The Grateful Dead even had ties to the federal government and CIA through Ken Kesey and Robert Hunter, who both worked on MKUltra at Stanford University. My question is, for those who continue to make excuses for these people, when is it time to stop making excuses? Where do you draw the line? Do they just get a free pass because they're a talented musician?
How the sign of the curse works?
Sign of the curse? Completely different. How does it go? No, not at you. Not.
This is Anton LaVey, founder of the Church of Satan, and I'm just establishing here that this sign of the curse, sign of the horns, as he calls it, is absolutely 100% a satanic hand sign.
You people out there in the audience, but this is the difference. Aim it toward Red China.
Do you record while the bus is moving, or does it have to come to a stop?
Yeah, well, sometimes they don't want to, and they're, Gaga, we can't get, the frequency's weird, and, it's sounding a little bit strange, and I'm like, if you don't get this right now, I swear to Lucifer, I'm gonna, I get a little bit mad.
Stole the gold right out of their teeth. I sold my soul for fortune and fame. Man, I'm here alone, everything's the same.
Guys, this is a principle of occultism. It's called revelation of method. They have to tell you and show you what they're doing. This is all Masonic stuff. This is all occultic stuff. It's the same stuff we've seen for years, and if you haven't accepted it by now, your observational skills are compromised. All you have to do is look at the people he surrounds himself with and what they're connected with, the awards he receives, his lyrics, his album covers. Guys, you can't just get a Grammy. You have to take the deal, be a part of the club. This is Sam Smith's performance of Unholy at the Grammys recently. These are the type of events that Billy and the Dead were attending. Bob Ware played Bohemian Grove. These people sold us out for their own benefit, for money and fame, to corrupt our minds with filth. They get paid to betray us and subconsciously push programming and conditioning on us. Just look at all of the examples of the Masonic one eye. The owl, which is Moloch, and the goat, which is the Baphomet, as well as the tattoo and other references to 33, like 33rd degree Mason.
Or I think that, yeah, people are always like, you want to at least have a certain level of like, what's fair. And it just seems so unfair. And so cowardly. Like, if there is a microphone there and he's there to debate, go and debate him. You know? Go speak your piece. Whether the crowd agrees or if whoever kind of wins the debate or whatever, I don't know if that matters. What matters is that you like kind of try and share whatever you're thinking or feeling.
This is a really interesting clip, and I think Theo could be a good person who got himself involved with some bad things, and he's really trying to cleverly reveal this to us without raising any alarms or getting himself in trouble. But take a look at the hand symbol that he's doing. This is called the square and compass sign. I'll show you Ariana Grande doing this in her video pushing Kabbalistic doctrine in a moment, but I think he's trying to signal something to us here, and he'll do it again in a moment.
Maybe there's people that don't feel like they have a place to do that. I don't know. But to go that far away, not even have the balls to go to the microphone or to... I think something about that makes me sick. That's what it is. I think it's made me feel sick. And I think there's other stuff, you know, like feeling like there's like, it feels like some people in the world, like some like dark and powerful people know what's going on and they're not telling the rest of us. I think that feels like what's happening sometimes. And I don't know if I'm the only person that's feeling that. I feel like they all know something that's happening. It always feels like there's something bigger and eviler in the distance hiding behind something that's kind of laughing a little.
You can see in my documentary that every Mason takes a blood oath not to reveal the secrets of a Master Mason. They're all completely and utterly controlled. This is the face of shame, guilt, and fear of speaking out.
And, yeah, and this just felt like the pinnacle of the horn of whatever creature that is, kind of. Or yeah, I don't know, something like that.
I like went to Catholic school. It was like so funny and like, yeah, I learned. I went to class. I did the Sunday church thing, and I think it was the Pope at the time was like totally homophobic and totally not a fan of women at all, or like also like SpongeBob or Harry Potter, and I was like, nah, f this, I can't do this.
Not for me.
I was like, I'm out, guys, I can't do it, and I just became more spiritual.
I mean, you're literally. I mean, you have a song that says God is a woman. Like, obviously, there's a statement there.
It's about women and female energy, like.
And this is it, the square and compass symbol we saw Theo doing when he was trying to subtly reveal something. The same one we see Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Andrew Tate, and countless other rich, famous, and powerful people do.
Feminine energy being responsible for the whole creation of the universe.
The whole creation of the universe.
It's within.
Just like, man, I'm just going to rip this DMT. And I'm like, whoa, what's that? It's like this blue light way up ahead in the distance, and it's getting closer and closer to me. And all of a sudden, it's like, whoa, it's a chick. And I'm like, I can see this lady, and she's swirling and dancing. And she starts murmuring this ancient language that is brand new. Something that this language has only been used right now for this particular occasion, but it's ancient, and I understood every word somehow. She's telling me this information as she's spinning and twirling and dancing for me. And she's wearing this skirt, and every time she twirls, her skirt kind of twirls like that, and it's made of like eyeballs, and then she does a 360 and it's made of ears and then teeth and then hair, noses and pupils, and just all these different facial features. Her skirt was like made up of like thousands of them. As every time she turned, it would change. And she's getting closer and closer to me, and then she got close enough to me, and she kind of like caressed me in a way, like put her arms around me and was like, "Are you good?" I'm like, "I'm good." And then we went, like shot me out of the atmosphere, out of, outer space, like through this placenta where we kind of broke through, and then it was like we were on this beautiful pink mountaintop overlooking this vast everything.
Damn.
And she was kind of standing me on top of the mountain, pointing and looking and showing me everything. These are all the universes. Notice how they're spinning and working together like a gear, like a watch, like a clock, like a movement. Damn. And then she zapped us down.
Super Zillow or something.
It was like all the universes spinning, and then she took me down to our universe and showed me all the galaxies doing that same thing. And then she took me to our galaxy, showed me all of the planets doing it, then to our planet and showed me the wind and water and currents, and then to a grain of sand. It was like a fractal out from everything, and everything is spinning and working together.
Doing the dance.
Yeah, doing the dance. Yeah. What you do affects your neighbor, you know, and basically she told me it was like, you need to be strong in yourself. You need to work on yourself, work on your mental health, work on, you know, she didn't say all this shit, but
you caught it from
that's what I got, is like, you need to work on yourself. We're all we're all links in a chain. We're all together. Me and you are the same, bud.
This is Kabbalah doctrine at its core that he's describing. Ein Sof, endlessness, boundlessness. What he's describing right now is called ego theism or Neoplatonism. It's the idea that everything is energy and you are a part of that energy, therefore you are God. This is exactly what Satan believed and convinced Eve to do. The tree of knowledge of good and evil is the Kabbalistic Sephirot and Klippith. The fruit from that tree is pride, ego theism, believing that you are God. This is what Satan deceives people into believing and doing. It's his false gospel, his false religion. Almost all secret societies and occult practices are based on this. Eliphas Levi, the Freemason who drew the Baphomet, admits on page 382 of his book The History of Magic that Freemasonry is based on Kabbalah. When you believe you're God, it leads to hedonism. Do whatever you want. Do what thou wilt, as Aleister Crowley said. There's no consequences. There's no judgment. This is Satan's so-called freedom.
And we need to be the strongest links that we can be for everything, for not just humanity, but all of everything, you know. And what that is, to be a strong link, you got to work on yourself and basically just not be a dick, you know, and dive down inside of yourself and figure out what it is. Why are you an asshole?
Yeah.
You know, or how can you change to be better? How could you be a kinder, better person to your neighbor, to Mother Nature,
to yourself?
To yourself, especially. That's how you do it.
Right.
That's how you find the strength.
Billy, of course, hung out with on many occasions and knew the living members of the Grateful Dead, or the Grateful Feds, as I like to call them. And why is that, you might ask? Because just like Billy, their art and lyrics are full of Masonic and Satanic imagery. This is the sign of the second veil of the Holy Royal Ark degree. Others call it the Hidden Hand. Egyptian Hermeticism and Rosicrucianism are Masonic Gnostic beliefs. References to Rosicrucianism and Egyptian Hermeticism can be found all throughout album art and lyrics. Here's a couple examples of revelation of method where they admit to being basically government federal agents and selling their souls to who they refer to as the Reaper Man.
Well, we'll do one more. I had from Farther Further. What insights can you share with us about your performance at the Bohemian Grove?
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't talk much about the Bohemian Grove because, you know, it's a place that people go to get away from the spotlight. You know, a lot of relatively well-known guys are members of that club. Basically, it was founded 130 years ago or so by artists and writers, for artists and writers, and still, in order to get in, you have to have something to offer in that regard. A lot of the members are, you know, successful entrepreneurs or businessmen of one sort or another. That kind of stuff, you know, these kinds of meetings and stuff like that are only going to happen there. Or, you know, it's the only place where you can almost be assured of, where I can almost be assured of that, of meeting folks like this. So it's a great opportunity for me. It's also a great club. There's a sort of an unwritten but hard and fast rule for membership: no jerks. And they have an entrance committee that they can sniff them out.
Well, Bob, those are great insights, and I always appreciate it. I always appreciate how much you share of yourself with Headcount.
Oh, right, Bobby. Yeah, no jerks at Bohemian Grove. No one like, you know, David Rockefeller, Henry Kissinger, George H.W. Bush, Charles Schwab, or members of Goldman Sachs. And they definitely don't stand around a giant owl Moloch statue and burn a mini fake child in a cremation of care ritual. They would never do that.
When you walk through the White House, do you get a sense that it truly belongs to you?
Yeah, no, I do. Now, I've been in the White House a number of times. Often, you know, way back, a number of years back, the head of the Secret Service there was a fan and came to a show and invited us for a tour. And that was, I guess, my first time in the White House. But when I get there, you know, it's an office building. It's my office building, though, you know. But now, these days, when I go to D.C., I go to the White House and I do business. You know, oftentimes it has to do with the business that we have to do is the business of getting, we talk to the White House staff about how we can get how their ideas about what we can do, for instance, in an off-election cycle year, to keep people involved that won't be political. But if there's something that they can offer us that we can use to keep people engaged, they're more than happy to do it. And so yeah, I go to the White House.
So a quick recap: Billy Strings admits in a lyric he sold his soul, has dozens of examples of satanic album covers, merch, and artwork, glorifies Satanism and Kabbalistic doctrine, and is connected with one percenters and admittedly satanic celebrities. The same can be said for the Grateful Dead, except for they have more high-profile connections, like government agents, billionaires, and CEOs. How many coincidences does it take before it becomes a trend? 2 dozen? 3 dozen? 4 dozen? At what point do we stop making excuses and start calling it for what it is? This stuff takes a long time to put together. If you guys appreciate it, like, comment, share, or subscribe. God bless.